I know I'm like insanely crazy late to the party on this one, and I'm not going to talk on it very long. I know I say that all the time, then I talk for 50 minutes, but I just wanted to take a real quick minute before I go to bed. I recently finally watched Sense8, which is a Netflix original show that was worked on or created by the Wachowskis. Specifically, I think Lana was. That's the one I saw mostly, like in the behind the scenes stuff and whatnot. So, but whatever. This, my God, man, this was a show that was canceled after 2 seasons, kind of like on a cliffhanger, and people lost their motherfucking minds because the people who love this show like it's a religion. And so Netflix listened and they commissioned a final episode, a 2.5 hour send off to kind of wrap everything up. Was this show anywhere near done by the time they hit that episode? Like, would this have continued for multiple more seasons if it was given the chance to? 100%. This has some of the greatest character development, some of the greatest characters I've ever seen in anything in my entire life. Now, I could see in 2020 people looking at this show as some like far left, politically driven, agenda fucking centric TV series. Um, I'm honestly surprised I haven't heard more about that because there's such a focus on transgender, um, the transgender topic. I don't want to say rights, but one of the characters is trans and it's played by an actual trans woman, which, holy shit, man, that's the best trans looking woman I've ever seen in my life. I actually had to look it up because I was like, well, the Wachowskis are trans and they have a trans character, so it would be very odd for me if they did not actually cast someone trans, but this chick doesn't look like biologically male at all. Typically, you can tell. I mean, in my opinion, I can usually tell that they've, whatever. But in this one, I was like, wow, that is a fucking beautiful woman. And like when I looked it up and they're like trans, like, damn, wow, that really impressed me. And her performance is fantastic. Like everybody's performance in this is fantastic. Favorite characters? I think that's like okay. I don't even think I was getting done with what I was trying to say there. But there's the trans character. There's a lot of focus on a homosexual relationship in this. Well, a couple of them. The trans woman with the other woman. But then there's the gay male couple, Leto and his boyfriend. It also kind of plays a little bit into like I shouldn't say little bit. It plays a lot into, especially in the end, like couples with more than one partner. So it's like there's so many explorations of so many. And then of course there's like race. There's a lot of race stuff in here. You've got characters from India, you've got characters from Africa, you've got characters like they're all around the world. Now, if you don't know what this show's about, which I probably should have started with, is that you have 8 characters that are all connected and they don't know it, but once they kind of are awakened by this, something happens and they're kind of awakened to realize that they like are all connected, and they have the ability to go into each other's heads and like they can just be like standing in the room with each other. They're the only people that can see the other person. It's a little confusing, I think, especially to explain, and I think people might struggle with it a little bit. Be like, wait, are they there, or are they projecting, or what are they doing here? I think as complicated as this story is, I feel like they do a very good job of conveying what's going on. I will be honest, there were times where I was like confused on whether or not some of these people had ever actually met yet, especially 2 of these characters in the film or in the series. I really was like, okay, are they in the same room right now? I can't figure this out, because the way it's shown like they can't. they're in the same room when they're not. They're still in their own countries, far, far apart. But in this show, they have the ability to have the other person kind of come in and take over their body and use their attributes, use their skills. So if like someone needs to get into a fight, there's a couple characters in this that have the ability to fight really well. They're like martial artists or know guns really well or whatever. So if they're like in these dire situations, that person can kind of take over the role of that person to get them out of that situation because they have the skills to do so. One of them's a doctor so that they can help kind of like patch themselves up. One of them is an actor so that he can use his abilities of acting to get them through certain situations where they have to kind of like act their way out of things. Stuff like that. There's just, every character is so well fucking explored, so well acted, so intimate. And now the show does have a lot of like montage sequences of almost like a music video. Like, I'm really surprised that so many people praise this and love this, and maybe this is just because the characters are so strong at this point that maybe you're just like in it with them. But I know a big problem that people have with like the Matrix Reloaded is this big rave dance sequence that people constantly see like is like 50 fucking minutes long when it's probably like 5 minutes, and it's not even that big of a deal in the film, and I actually like it. So I don't know, I love the Matrix movies, yes, all three of them, so I don't know what the hell people are talking about, but whatever, that's nor here nor there. It's just that in this show there's a lot of like musical numbers where people are like in slow motion, like fucking lot of sex, lot of nudity, lot of intimacy, a lot of orgies, a lot of fucking, a lot of tits, a lot of everything. Like every character in this bears all. And it's just every time though, for some reason, I was so into it. I was so invested emotionally. Every time they were having sex, I felt like I was in there with them. Like every time they were having this emotional moment, I felt like I was feeling it with them. I was so connected to every character. I love Sun, and I love Cascas, and I love fucking Wolfgang, and I loved everybody. I mean, there's no real, like, I couldn't, it would be very, very difficult for me to pick a favorite character. That would be very, very difficult. For some reason, though, I have to say, if like gun to my head, the ones I was connecting with the most was Leto, his boyfriend, and Danny, the gorgeous, wonderful, unbelievably sexy Danny. All the women in this movie are hot. Or, I keep calling it a movie. It fucking feels like a movie at times. All the women in this TV series are hot. All of them. I mean, fucking all of them. They're all attractive. They're all people that I would totally go to bed with. Probably even the trans woman, which, yeah, interesting. But that's a good looking woman. But man, yeah, I was just like, I was so into this show, and I totally get it. Like, I knew I'd like it, but I didn't really know what it was about. Like, I knew that the connection of the 8 people, but I didn't really know where it was going, where it was heading, any of that stuff. So I threw it on. I knocked it out over the last, like, week or two. I kind of took my time with it. I watched an episode a day or two, and I just really soaked it in. I could have binged it, but, like, I didn't want it to end, you know? I was like, oh, no. I'll just take my time. Like, I watched an episode, and I was, like, going to press play, and I was like, no. Savor it. There's not many. This is so good. This is so fucking good. Like, I totally get it now. Why these fans were freaking out. Why there was such an uproar on the internet. Why people were fucking losing their minds because they were like, why'd you cancel this show? I'm so emotionally invested in these characters. I so need to know what happens now. You can't leave us off on this fucking cliffhanger. You can't leave it there. Hell no. Hell no. Did we get enough? Absolutely not. I think this could have went many more seasons. I think the problem with the show, though, is that the show is extremely, extremely costly because every character takes place in a different country, and they were constantly filming all around the world, but like each director would film a specific country. So they had like every episode, like so I was reading every like scene that takes place in like America, the Wachowskis did every episode or every not episode, every scene that took place in like Africa or London or wherever was shot specifically by the same director throughout the entire series. And they were just constantly filming in different countries and then flying each other out because like they're always like in each other's scenes. And I couldn't imagine how much travel. I can't imagine how much money, production. Like that's like the death of film right there is location changes. Like that's why low budget movies always use one location. Changing locations is so expensive. This show is all over the place. It rarely takes place like in the same joint. Like it's like they're all over the place. This show must have cost a fucking fortune to make, but it's so good. I don't care. Like it's so beloved for a reason. You genuinely love everybody. If you're feeling it, like I was, like so many do, and the people who look at this shit like it's a religion. I totally get it, man. I totally get it. These characters are that strong. I love all of them so much. My only gripe, if I had to point out a gripe, is that they recast Cassius. They recast the African guy. I don't understand. I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but it really bummed me out. Like when I pressed play on season 2 and he came on the screen, I was so confused for like 10 minutes. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, what am I missing here? Like, I was like, am I out of my mind? That's not the same actor. It's like, not even close. I was like, what is happening? Yeah, just recast. I can't find any info on it, any trivia. Why did he leave? What happened? So, that's a shame. That kind of hurt the show a little bit for me, because I like them both, to be completely honest. I did. Like, the other guy had to win me over, but he did in the end, and I really did like him a lot. But it's kind of like that. It's like a Dumbledore situation or something. Or you're just like, oh man, like even though you did do a good job, although with Richard Harris and he died. That's not his fault. But this guy is actually still alive. So I don't know what the hell happened there, but regardless, man, it's on Netflix. Obviously, it's a Netflix original. The seasons aren't very long. There is like 3 episodes that are like 2.5 hours long. So those are like the big ones, and then every other episode's like an hour long, and there's only like 24 episodes altogether, or something like that. So, but man, you want to see fantastic characters that you're so unbelievably emotionally invested in, and God, the drama. But maybe people will find, I'm sure there's people out there who watch this and are like, dude, like every other fucking scene is like a montage of like sex or, dancing but man, I love every time. Every time it was like I was smiling ear to ear, or I was crying, or whatever fucking emotion they were trying to get out of me. I was like falling for it, hook, line, and sinker. So, man, and Sun, little Asian girl, so fucking cute. She wears this like half shirt in one episode. I was like dying. And then you got freaking like all the chicks. You got all of them. They're all beautiful. Everybody's beautiful. I fucking love them. You want to talk about a good looking man? Oh my God, Leto, that is a good looking man. I am like going gay just watching this show. That guy's so fucking good looking. But yeah, it's just such a great show. I would say. And for some reason I'm blanking on her name right now, which is crazy to me. Riley, thank you. The blonde with the blue streak in her hair. She's the most my type, I suppose. But I don't know, man. Danny. Danny's so hot. Anyway, but it wasn't even that. They could have all been freaking, it's definitely part of it. I mean, attractive people don't hurt. And with all the sex scenes and all the nudity and everything, it was not hurting that they were all people I would definitely want to fuck. So, great show. Fucking fantastic show. I'm so glad I finally sat down and watched it. And now I need to get to Ozark Season 3, which I have not watched. I am knocking out all the TV series that I've missed because of the channel, because of life. I'm just catching up on all the seasons that I've missed. And I've got hundreds lined up. So it's going to take a long ass time. And by the time I'm done with them, there's going to be 100 things I missed because I was watching these things. Oh, the horror of it all. How poor me, right? I get all this wonderful content that I love. Bummer. Anyways, please watch Sense8. It's phenomenal. And if you already have, which most of you probably have, tell me who's your favorite character. Tell me who you want to fuck the most. I gotta go to bed.